Huawei was one of the first companies to launch a foldable phone. Over the past couple of years, the brand has tried all the forms of existing folding screens that you'll find in the market. Well, actually, I mean it more than tried by bringing these designs into mass production. So there are devices like the most premium Mate X2 model with dual displays, the most compact P50 pocket, and this one in my hand, the Mate XS2 that folds outwards into a regular phone. Speaking of foldable phones, probably some of you still think they are just gimmicks or expensive toys for show-off. You might complain that the folding mechanism with a bigger display leads to a bulky feeling, but on the Mate X series, you hardly have such complaints. Although visually, Huawei didn't really change anything from the last generation, the new foldable phone has a better build quality and a more compact body with lighter weight. The device only weighs 255 grams and comes with a 7.8-inch unfolded display. As we've seen recently, almost all the premium phones with regular form factor weighs over 220 grams, so in terms of the weight, there isn't a significant difference. To be honest, you would hardly realize it's a foldable phone when you first get your hands on it. This is also thanks to its body thickness of only 11mm. When unfolding the phone, it's just a 5.4mm thin at its thinnest point. And the feeling is even stronger. It feels like you are just holding a larger display, but not a phone with the full functions. Before we got this phone, our main concern was durability. Although I admit it's really impressive when holding it in your hands, we also noticed that there's a folding screen and lots of moving parts in the hinge. And due to the outwards folding, the whole display is always on the outside without cover protection. So it also feels like a fragile work of art. And we were not sure whether it would survive occasional knock or scratches. Well, in fact, the situation is much better than we thought, as one of my colleagues has used it as his daily phone for about a month, and there's no apparent damage or scratch on the foldable phone so far. The phone's body is made of a titanium alloy with a rear cover that's infused with fiberglass. The narrower edges are bumped up a little bit to protect the flexible display, while the pre-applied film protector is scratch resistant. Turn the phone around, you can see one of my favorite designs of this phone, the narrow grip that bumps up to match the height of the back folding screen. It makes it easier and safer to hold the unfolded phone with one hand. We couldn't find such a security grip on other foldable phones that we used. The little red button on the narrow grip is the switch to release the screen. It ensures that the phone is secure enough in its folded state. Above the red button, there are the triple camera stacks vertically in a line. When switching between folding and unfolding, the hinge feels really smooth and solid. And most importantly, even after using it for a whole month, there's no visible crease. As an outwards foldable phone, it's amazing. But technically, the hinge doesn't support a free angle stand. Well, it still makes sense since I couldn't find any reason why I need to stand between a fully folded and fully unfolded state. It's difficult to design a well-functioned phone case for such an outwards foldable model, but we can still see Huawei making efforts. This is the included phone case specifically for the Mate XS2, which allows you to get good protection in the folding form, and is possible to unfold the phone as well. But the unfolding experience with the case is kind of clunky. You need to unclasp the phone from the left, click the red button, hold the case out of the unfolding way, and then unfold the phone. It's definitely make the whole process less convenient, but meanwhile, it still has another benefit. The case can also act as a phone stand and free your hands while watching videos. The unfolded display is just stunning. The 7.8-inch 120Hz AMOLED display is sharp with excellent colors for daily use. For watching videos or reading texts, the unfolded display brought a much better visual experience than most regular phones. In the folded form, the screen ratio is almost the same as what we have on a regular phone. It is the most comfortable folding phone we have ever experienced, regardless of the form in which it's used. As for software, it's a bit disappointing. Well, I don't mean that we are frustrated with the software experience. Actually, it works well and runs smoothly. And I love features on the phone like one-hand mode, floating windows, and split screen view. These features allow it to be used with a good efficiency in different screen sizes. But we just want to argue that it couldn't give us enough software surprises to match with such great hardware. For example, although we can use the rear camera to take selfies with the rear part of the screen as a viewfinder, unfortunately, we couldn't have any operation on the secondary screen. So if you want to take a selfie with it, all you can do is to check whether the image or video is good and press the volume button as the shutter or the recording button. So you see, the rear part of the screen definitely has more potential. For example, the phone can recognize which side of the user is facing and let the corresponding side of the screen respond to users. Or let the rear side just be an AOD frame for your preference and display notification alone. But these are just some of my thoughts. I just hope Huawei brings more exclusive features to the Mate X series in the future via software updates. Now let's check out its camera performance. The camera module includes a 50 megapixel camera, a 13 megapixel wide-angle camera, and another 8 megapixel telephoto lens that support 3x optical zoom. The phone's image continues Huawei's consistent color preference. Every time clicking the shutter, the phone would perform exclusive imaging processing, which usually takes about 2 to 3 seconds. And the processing works well on the Model 2. The picture you finally have can have better contrast with richer brightness and darkness details. But obviously, it's not the best phone camera performance we've seen on Huawei devices. The 13 megapixel resolution of the wide-angle camera didn't compare to those premium models in terms of image sharpness. Meanwhile, the algorithm was not particularly stable on photos shot on the wide-angle lens, and the composite image also seemed to meet overexposure issues under extreme brightness, which requires users to manually address or select the right exposure area to avoid. The experience with the 3x optical zoom lens was great. When activating 3.5x shooting, the OIS support brings excellent anti-shaking and decent detail. Even when zoom in to 5x, the image still looks good and is not much different from photos shot on those 5x telephoto lenses. Night performance is still one of the Huawei's strengths. All three lenses support night optimization. Bright and dark details were reserved, and the noise was also well controlled. The Mate Xs2's camera has significant advantage over other foldable phones. But the good thing is that Huawei's imaging algorithm brings decent color performance for all three cameras. When switching among them, we didn't really have the distinct sense of strange feeling that we have on some models. What's interesting about image editing is that the phone supports an AI remove feature in the Gallery app. It can intelligently identify the background and eliminate the object you select in the image. It's easy to get started without requiring any processing skills. But of course, the processing is not always accurate when dealing with the complicated scenarios. As for performance, the phone is powered by Snapdragon 888. Although we don't exactly like the chipset, it seems to be the best option for Huawei right now. And also note that there are some tech bans on Huawei. The phone is available only for 4G network instead of 5G. But in daily use, it worked no differently from a 5G phone, even though the place where we are living is fully covered with a 5G network. And we didn't really focus on its performance. The benchmarks here show that the phone has a pretty good performance. For more results, you can check them here.
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us.
And the battery life is not impressive, especially when you use it in unfolded form. It only reflects the average level of 888 chipset. So make sure you're okay to charge it regularly if you want to use a large screen. And the 66-watt charging is good but not so outstanding at this point. And the full charge test took us around 43 minutes. The Huawei Mate Xs2 once again refreshes the convenience of folding phones. The more compact body even allows it to be easily disguised as a regular phone and fit into your pocket. But my colleague also admits that he used it more often as a regular phone under the folding state, and he only preferred to unfold it when reading, viewing work documents, entertainment, and so on. Overall, it's the most decent foldable device that I would probably take as my everyday phone. So that's all about the latest Huawei foldable phone. Thank you for watching. This is Will from Gizmochina. See you soon.